Welcome back to Sports Hop. It is on and popping. It's your boy Mack B. I'm in the building. Solomon's in the building as always. We got a hot show for you today. I got an extra special guest coming on the show. Former Laker and current shooting coach of the world champion Denver Nuggets. We got the one and only Mike Penberthy on the show. Mike, welcome to the show. Thanks for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
I know you're in high demand, so we appreciate every moment of you being here. Let's just jump right in. Congratulations, Coach, to the Nuggets. They won the NBA title, and it definitely was a sight to see out there in the Mile High City. Talk to me, from the standpoint of working with the Nuggets, working with Nikola Jokic. He's such a generational talent. Tell me about your experience in Denver thus far.
Look, Nikola Jokic is a special player. I mean, he's somebody who makes the entire organization better. He makes the coaches better. He makes the front office better. He makes the players better. So we're truly lucky to have him. He's just an incredible person. He understands the game. He has a high level of basketball character. He wants to play the right way, and he definitely leads the team to play in that way as well. So great leader by example, speaks when he needs to, very coachable, and really a special talent for us. In Denver, we're really lucky to have him.
Right, that's outstanding. And one of my biggest things is you got to have talent on the floor, right? But from an organizational standpoint, front office, management, ownership, that all plays a key role as well. Talk to me about Stan Kroenke, Mike Malone, your relationship with them, and what the front office has done, bringing you in as well as a key contributor to make it happen for the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, Stan Kroenke is an incredible owner. His son Josh as well is very involved. Calvin Booth, the general manager, is really spearheading a lot of what the culture is being built on, his vision, and we work together, very closely. And where we want to go, we're trying to build a team that can be a dynasty. We don't just want to win one and be done. Right. So we're trying to draft and scout and really just build a culture that continues to win alongside Nikola and Jamal Murray, who are two fantastic leaders and superstars. And then we just build around all those guys and Mike Malone's done a great job. And he steps in when needed, and he sits back when needed. Sometimes coaching, you don't need to get involved, and sometimes you need to. And he's done a good job discerning those moments. And so we're building a culture. We're trying to build a team, and we have a system in mind of the players that we want. And it all starts with Stan Kroenke and his leadership, and then Calvin Booth and Mike Malone from there.
Outstanding. And talk to me about the maturation process and the growth and the comeback of Jamal Murray, because he overcame a serious knee injury. He's an outstanding player, one of the top guards in the league. Talk about his development and maybe some of the things that you've been able to lead him in terms of shooting and things of that nature as a player.
Yeah, I mean, Jamal's a fantastic player, really done a great job of bringing himself back into great shape. It takes a little while to build that confidence in a leg where you have a serious injury like an ACL.
Right.
So he worked himself back into great shape. That was the most important thing. And then, he fits himself, he and Nikola have such a great chemistry on the court. So, but yeah, I mean, we get a chance to talk a lot about just leading the team. I mean, being a point guard and having done it in the NBA before, knowing what plays to call, understanding the time and clock situation, knowing the situation with the fouls, understanding who's hot on the floor, taking advantage of where the referees are on the court so you can get more fouls called. There's a depth to basketball that has to be experienced and taught, and so it's been nice to be able to work alongside him. I mean, shooting the basketball, he's a pretty good shooter. I don't have to do much with him. Usually, I'm like a doctor. They usually give me the guys that need help, and he doesn't need a lot of help. So sometimes it's just stay out of the way, and sometimes it's tell him to shoot more. My encouragement to him last year specifically was I don't think we can win a championship with him shooting less than 10 threes a game. I mean, we need him to be an aggressive three-point shooter. So we need more volume out of him. I just saw him this week. You know, we had a great conversation just about what kind of shape he's in. This is the best shape he's been in going into a season. So he looks great. He's super motivated, and I'm really excited to see what he does this year.
And part of the challenges, Coach, associated with the National Basketball Association, trades, free agency, players getting hurt, things of that nature. You lost Bruce Brown in the offseason, and Jeff Green is also gone. He was a key component in terms of veteran leadership in that locker room. Tell me how the Nuggets can overcome the loss of two key acquisitions.
Well, obviously losing Bruce Brown is a big deal just because of his contribution and his defensive contribution, his athletic contribution, his ability to get in the paint, his switchability and the ability to guard multiple positions. Losing Jeff Green, obviously a big deal because he's such a valuable, like you said, a valuable leader and influence in the locker room with his experience. You know, we tried to replace it. You know, last year we had the opportunity to sign Reggie Jackson. That was basically to give us some insurance policy because we knew Bruce might leave in the offseason. So we took the time to you know, we had the foresight to sign him and get him. And he'll be, you know, a very viable backup for us this year. We know he's got a lot left in the tank, and he's been working really hard. I've been working really close with him. I've known Reggie since his rookie year. I started working with Reggie back then. So we have a previous relationship and worked hard to get him to the Nuggets. And knowing that was a possibility, we brought him in, and we think he'll be a key contributor. We also signed Justin Holiday, so who's also a veteran who will help in the locker room. We still have DeAndre Jordan, another veteran who's been there before and did a great job just leading last year alongside Jeff. So we still have some veterans. You know, we've added some key young players, but we know that veteran leadership is important, and that's why DeAndre and Reggie and Justin will have to take the helm from there.
Right, I hear you. I agree with you there. Denver, I've spent a lot of time in Denver. It's a great sports town. In the past, it's been known as Broncos country and traditionally a football city. But now the elevation of the Nuggets, you know, there's a lot of different things going on in the Mile High City. What has your experience been with the fan base out in Denver? And tell me about just the climate overall in Denver and how you've adjusted to that.
Well, I mean, Denver has some amazing fans. I mean, they're knowledgeable. They love sports. I mean, what an incredible sports town.
Yeah.
So much going on with the elevation. Also, you know, Colorado football. I mean, the Broncos historically have been amazing.
Right.
You know, they brought in Sean Payton, so there's some excitement, some buzz there. You know, Colorado Rockies are right there in town too. So Avalanche have won a title recently. So it's really an exciting place to be involved in sports, and the fans are great, super supportive. You know, obviously when you're winning, you know, it helps, and we've been pretty good, you know, the last 18 months. So, but even in the tough times, and we see that how they handle the Broncos this year are currently struggling. You know, they're still supportive. They still want to see that team win, and they still, you know, show up to the games and cheer for their team. So we appreciate the fans. They're amazing. But Denver's a great town, and I really enjoy being there. And nothing but love, you know, and we've felt nothing but love and support from those fans.
Right, outstanding. And let's pivot to, you know, let's go back in time. You were undrafted coming out of Masters College. Talk to me about that process. The fact you were undrafted. I know you bounced around a little bit. You did play with the Lakers for a few years. Talk to me about that experience as a Laker, under Phil Jackson, playing with Shaq and Kobe. Tell me about that.
Well, coming out of Masters, you know, there haven't been too many NAIA players that have played in the NBA,
right?
Let alone that have, you know, won championships. I don't know if there are hardly any, but you know, obviously I was very fortunate to have, you know, the opportunity to try out. That was the key. Was just, you know, you need opportunities. If you're good enough, you just need opportunities. And so, you know, the Lakers gave me that opportunity. But before then, I had torn my hamstring in summer league with the Pacers. So I sat out for 6 months. I missed all my opportunities in the NBA and in Europe. Ended up going and playing in Germany. Then I played in the off season. That was the year of the lockout. After that year, the '99 lockout. So I missed opportunities then. I had to find, I was basically a mercenary. I was a hired shooter. I played in Venezuela. I played in Australia. I played in all over Europe, just trying to find a team that would sign me. Ended up playing in Hamburg a couple times, Hamburg, Germany. Came back in the summer. Ended up playing with Slam Magazine in the summer league, and got the chance to be seen by the Lakers. They brought me in for a couple tryouts. I was one player picked out of 30 to be there for training camp.
Wow.
Basically, I didn't miss for like 3 weeks, and that was the key. I was a hired gun, and it was, the job was, you're a shooter, and that's it. That's what we need. So I was the Steve Kerr, if you will, of our team that year, because Derek Fisher was out. So I got the opportunity, and I took advantage of it. Ended up winning a championship, and Phil Jackson, just a great leader. He really understood players, having been a former player, and I liken to those things that I learned from him often, being a former player and coaching players. He had an ability to connect with players that was super unique. He created a culture there where he was, able to lead, and our players were willing to follow, which is a big part of it. It isn't just his coachability, but you have to earn that right too. And Phil had done that previously, so it didn't make it too difficult. But he also, was a great leader with Shaq and Kobe. So Shaq, being the dominant force he was, and then Kobe being the up and coming, superstar in the NBA. Phil did a masterful job of creating a team of equality, and he believed that everybody was valuable in their own role, and it was important that those stacked roles work together and seamlessly. And he relied on those superstars to be the leaders as well, to drive it. And so he really was masterful. I saw it firsthand. That was the second year that they had won. So I saw a season where they had won a championship, similar to like what we're going on right now in Denver. Year two, I was a part of the second championship, and that whole process and the mentality of going through another grind in a season where you're playing 100 games and you're trying to work together and create chemistry and play together, and then be motivated to win a game, on Wednesday in Utah. Those aren't easy things to do, or play on a back-to-back coming out of Philly and going to Charlotte. Like, those are just hard things to do, and he did a great job of maintaining the focus, and I really learned a lot from him in just how to lead men and connect with players.
And that was my next question. Nice lean in there. So is it fair to say that you learned some things from Phil from back in the day that you currently facilitate now as a coach?
Oh, no question. Yeah, absolutely. And I watched him like a hawk. My dad was a coach, so I grew up basketball from day one, and so everything Phil said was like gold to me. But I definitely continue to, on a daily basis, use the things I've learned from him, and then all the coaches I've had in the past. You become this, this Rubik's Cube of coaching knowledge and influence that you take and you impart onto players. And Phil, knowing him and being able to talk to him and learn from him was just an incredible experience. And he's definitely somebody I lean on for those type of situations now.
Right. And Coach, walk our viewers through the process of your relationship with Shaq, because I know it was unique. I read a story how he got, I believe, 5 or 6 suits custom tailored for you or custom made. Tell us about some of the more funnier moments with Shaq and what you were able to learn through his leadership.
Well, Shaq, he wanted to be one of the guys,
Yeah.
So he didn't want to be treated like Shaq. My locker was next to his in our locker room. So, basically he took over my entire locker as well, because he's so big, So there were things just laying everywhere, but that's probably why he wanted a rookie next to him.
Right.
But yeah, he's just great. He's one of the guys. He would call all the time, and call my room. Hey, I'm going to lunch. Let's go. Hey, I'm going to dinner. Let's go. So we spent a lot of time talking and hanging. I saw him this year in Denver. We talked for a while. He's somebody I talk to on a regular basis. He'll call me sometimes and say, before I was coaching, he used to call during his show on TNT and be like, hey, what do I say here at halftime? I'd be like, just talk about Dirk Nowitzki and blah. So, he hits me up on those situations. But just a great guy. He's an incredible human. He wants to see people do well. He hurts for people that are not doing well. He's very empathetic for people struggling. And so he values people. He values players on the team that he knows will help. And so he values me because I can make shots. And he knew if he threw it to me, I can make it. But yeah, I mean, he was constantly asking if I was good. He was like, "Do you need a car?" And I would say, "I need some clothes." He'd be like, "Let's go get some suits." And so that was how it worked. That beginning of the season, I didn't have any suits. I didn't have money to buy suits. So I was like, "Dude, I don't have money. I'm living off of meal money that they gave me for the week, like $1,500. Like I was sending it home to my wife for rent." So he was like, "Let's go get some suits," and he took me in and just bought a bunch of suits and took care of me. And I know, he was a guy that when my dad passed away while I was playing, he offered to pay for the funeral. And he just an incredible human being and somebody that I'm glad to still call a friend to this day.
Yeah, he's an amazing human being. I hope to meet him one day. Let's talk about the bubble in 2020. You were part of the Lakers coaching staff during that time. The world was changing because of the pandemic. It was a totally different time, especially in sports. Talk to me about that particular process and that experience in the bubble and what you learned from that, and also working alongside Frank Vogel, who I thought was an outstanding coach, by the way, and still is.
Well, yeah, Frank Vogel is a fantastic coach. I mean, there's a lot to be said there. I mean, let me think. The bubble, let's start with the bubble. I mean, it was really, really, really difficult to live in a hotel room for 3 months.
Right.
Not be able to leave campus. Basically, you're confined to, a couple 100 yards that you can move around in. And it was fun because, it was like a gigantic AAU event, of the greatest players in the world, because you would go down the elevator and you'd be riding in the elevator with Kawhi Leonard and get off it and bump into Spoelstra while you're walking down and you say hi to Joker. I got my haircut in the bubble. Joker and I we got our haircuts together at the same time. And we started talking, and I had played in Europe. I played in Europe for 8 years, and he was, this guy and that guy. And so here we are. I mean, what in the world? Only in the bubble in that scenario would we be getting our haircut literally next to each other, talking about European basketball. So the bubble experience was challenging because of just the living, setup there in the hotel. But every other day we played a game, and then every other day we practiced. So it really helped our team focus. I mean, we had Rondo, who was an amazing leader.
Right.
We had LeBron James. We had Quinn Cook, who had been a part of championships with the Warriors. We had J.R. Smith, who had been a part of championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we had just a great group. JaVale McGee, who had been a part of some championship teams as well. So we have all these guys, and we have, then we have the best center in the league when he's healthy, Anthony Davis. And, you put that together with these great role players, Alex Caruso, KCP, Kyle Kuzma. People forget how talented that team was. I mean, it was insane.
That roster was
how
stacked.
Good we were. Oh, the roster was stacked. Put that together with Frank Vogel, who's an amazing defensive coach.
Right.
And we had Jason Kidd, as an assistant, who was just a genius. And he's great working with, superstars. LeBron respected him a ton. And that staff was loaded with great people, good high character, hard workers that come in and do their job. There was no messing around. We had great chemistry. Lakers did a great job. Rob Pelinka, I give him credit for a lot of things he did, trying to change up things in the bubble as much as you could. We'd have pizza party watching football. I mean, that was a big deal, because we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go anywhere. So
right.
Little things like that, created chemistry and culture. You're sitting with, I'm sitting with JaVale McGee watching a football game, having a pizza. I'm never going to do that in a normal day, and neither would he. But because we're stuck in that scenario, we're watching, football together in the hotel. And that stuff happened constantly, and we liked being together. The team enjoyed. They trusted us. We had a lot of intelligent, smart coaches there. One thing about LeBron, like, he will test you, and if you pass the test, he'll listen to you. And thankfully, he and I had a great relationship.
Right.
I mean, I've been blessed to coach so many great players, and on a personal and team level. And LeBron, everything that's said about him in terms of his hard work and his intelligence in basketball. I mean, he wants to know everything. And so with he and Rondo, I mean, both of them are there with J Kidd and I and Frank and just the guys that were there. I mean, what an amazing staff of people, and we really had a great thing there in the bubble, and it worked to our advantage to be there because we just decided to make it the best we could, and it turned out to be really special for us.
Right, and part of the game, all sports is psychological and mental, right? Talk to me about the process. You're a shooting coach, working with these players, especially these younger players, on technique, on free throws, 3-point baskets. Talk to us about the psychological aspect of shooting, because I think a big part of that is mental. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think your confidence is in your preparation, right? In anything, even in what you do, right? It's your preparation,
right?
And you prepare well, and you do a great job, and that's your confidence in being involved at your job. It's just in your preparation. And shooting, it's there's no secret. Like, you've got to put the work in, and if you want to be a better shooter, you have to put in extra work. The daily maintenance of being a really, really, really good shooter is probably 300 threes a day, even during the season. So I don't see how you can do it any other way. That builds confidence. That builds, it is difficult when you're going through changes. I mean, I've had to change player shots, and it hasn't been easy. Some have embraced it, some haven't, but right. Guys that embrace it and go through the process, and my, desire and ability to walk alongside them through that process and know that I'm going to be here. We're going to get it done. We're going to change what you need to change so you can become a great shooter. And those that have stuck with me have seen success. I'm not teaching something that I don't know. Like, this is my life, and I wasn't a great shooter, and I became a great shooter. That's that process. I'm just passing on what I know works. Like, this isn't a guess for me. So, every player's different. You got to find the psyche. Some need confidence, some need pushing. Some need a daily regimen. Rondo wanted specific daily work that he could do every day. Drew Holiday was different. Paul George was different. Dwayne Wade was different. So all these guys that I've had a chance to work with, Luka Doncic, he was different. Luka was amazing. He wanted to play horse. So I knew if I tied horse in, every 15 minutes, he'll do whatever I tell him. And so we would talk about a shot. We'd talk about, handling the basketball and the importance of, how do you handle the ball and shoot at the same time. But I knew if I wanted to get him to listen, I had to throw in a horse game, and he was more excited about playing horse probably. But I knew that was how I had to coach him. So all these guys are different. Rondo needed to be challenged. He wanted to make a certain amount in a row. AD just wanted to see shots go in.
Right.
That was his key. But he had to be pushed. Like, every day it was like, listen, you got to be in here taking 100. I had to push him. Some guys just showed up early and won. Like, Reggie Jackson just loves difficult. I'm coming at 8. I want to shoot. I want to do this. I'm gonna lift. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna go through the review. I want to watch film. I want to come back and shoot again. Like, some of these guys are just like, that's part of what builds the confidence. And so the mental toughness it takes to in a season to be a good shooter and a great shooter is really tied to the preparation.
Let's talk about the West. It's been loaded for quite some time, but there's been a lot of changes. Lillard is now going to Milwaukee. Chris Paul's in Golden State. Luka and Kyrie are in Dallas. The Clippers, if they can ever get healthy with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're always a threat, but they can't seem to have both of them on the floor consistently. Talk to me about what your thoughts are on the Lillard trade. He's going to be in Milwaukee now. You got DeAndre Ayton going to Portland. What are your thoughts on the Western Conference this year?
Well, you're right. There have been some significant changes, and the West is going to be unique. it isn't easy to add players and
Right.
have success right away. It's really difficult, and especially in the NBA. And if you're bringing a team back like ours, we have our starting five back. We're coming back off of winning a championship. We're going to be playing another season with all that chemistry and continuity. So that's going to be to our advantage. Making these trades and adding superstars, you saw how difficult it was for Dallas. I think they'll be better than they were last year just because they had time together. But, like,
Right.
it's not easy to throw two superstars in there and make it work. We've seen with Kawhi and Paul, like, you got to be healthy. And we've been fortunate to be healthy. And when we weren't healthy, we weren't good. I mean, Jamal Murray gets hurt, guess what? We won't win the championship. So it isn't a surprise when Kawhi and Paul aren't available for the whole season to see them struggle. Chris Paul goes to how is that going to affect him? Is he going to start? You know, how do you manage that? I know Steve Kerr's a great coach and he'll figure that out, but it'll be challenging. Phoenix, I mean, they just added Nurkic too in the deal, so they added another big that likes to bang and beat up with Joker. So that's going to be a challenge. Anthony Edwards is phenomenal in Minnesota. Memphis is going to be good. You know, Houston just added a bunch of players.
Yeah,
so they're
a lot
not
of young
going to be
talent.
slouch. We used to think Houston was like a practice game. We used to think now they're going to be tough. You know, they added talent. So Utah, you know, they got phenomenal front court now when they added Collins and they had Markkanen in there still. I mean, they're no slouch. So
Oklahoma
it ain't
City,
gonna be easy. Sacramento. I mean, yeah, Oklahoma City. Let's talk about. I mean, how amazing.
young talent,
I mean, SGA's, so talented. SGA,
stacked with draft picks.
Sacramento's coming back. Sacramento's going to be amazing. You know.
Right.
And there's rumors of them trying to go after Drew Holiday. They get Drew Holiday with Fox. Oh crap! I mean, they're going to be good. So, the NBA in the West, it's going to be a shootout for sure. You know, we hope having a year together under our belt, you know, where everybody else might be making changes gives us an advantage, and then, you know, adding some of these young players and a couple veterans, you know, we can give it a run again.
Well, Coach, I want to say thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Good luck going into the season. I think Denver, by the way, has just as good a chance to repeat as any other team that's won the title, particularly under your leadership, Mike Malone, Stan Kroenke. Shout out to the Joker. Tell Nicola that Mack B from Sports Hop says hello. I love his game.
I will. I'm going to see him in a couple days. I'll let him know.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You got it.
Wow, what a great guy. Shout out to Mike Penberthy and the Nuggets. Don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if that man is a head coach soon. I'm calling it. You heard it here first. Mike Penberthy will be coaching an NBA team in the next few years. I really think so. Moving on, but we're staying in the association, right? Damian Lillard, a blockbuster trade. Lillard is out of Portland, but he's not headed to South Beach, and neither am I. But he is going to Milwaukee. So he's going to team up with Giannis. He's still going to have Chris Middleton as well. Now, the Bucks actually had to go ahead and trade Drew Holiday. He's gone. I mean, that's a major part of that team that is gone, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But they did pick up one of the greatest closers in NBA history, Dame Dollar. You know what time it is. So I think Milwaukee is a viable force. I'm putting them in the top 3 to win the NBA title. Don't get it twisted. Coming out of Milwaukee, Green Bay, y'all still rebuilding after Aaron Rodgers departed, but Milwaukee, you are basically rising. You are escalating. I think the Bucks got a bright future, especially if they stay healthy. Giannis still needs to sign that extension. I think they whet his appetite quite a bit, bringing Dame Dollar in. So I think Milwaukee is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with in the East. Portland gets Drew Holiday. He's not going to be there. They're going to basically get him for some assets because they're going young. You got DeAndre Ayton going from the Suns up to Portland. He's excited to be up in the Pacific Northwest. And you got Nurkic going from Portland down to Phoenix. So a lot of moving pieces early on before the season even starts in the association. But I'm really excited to see how the NBA season plays out. You got the Nuggets, you got the Mavs with Kyrie and Luka. Can they have that chemistry this year? They only played 20 games together last year, right? Can Kawhi Leonard and Paul George stay healthy? That remains to be seen. Can Chris Paul fit with the Warriors and have that chemistry and give them some leadership in the backcourt. So there's a lot of missing links and a lot of missing unanswered questions that remain to be resolved. We shall see how it plays out. But one thing I do know is Nikola Jokic is going to be dominant again. Okay, that man, generational talent, very, very, very humble. I love his game. Now, back to Lillard. Lillard coming to Milwaukee. The Bucks are going to be contenders. They were contenders before, but I think even now more than ever, I believe Milwaukee will definitely come out of the East if they stay healthy. Now, the Boston Celtics will have something to say about that, right? Shout out to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and they got a squad, okay? So don't get it twisted. And they got Porzingis that came over from the Wizards. So I know Boston's still going to be viable, but something tells me the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis, with Chris Middleton, with Dame Dollar, one of the coldest closers in the game. You already know what time it is. If they stay healthy, I think the Bucks are going to come out of the East. In terms of the West, that remains to be seen. But the Nuggets, they're the front runners. Even though they lost Bruce Brown, they lost Jeff Green, they still got some key players on that roster. They still got Mike Malone. They got Mike Penberthy as a shooting coach. And they got one of the best owners in all of professional sports. Shout out to Stan Kroenke. Avs owner, Rams owner, Nuggets owner. Won 3 titles with 3 different organizations within a 4-year time frame. I have yet to see an owner do that. Now, I got a confession to make, right? My picks for week 3 were basically in the can. They were garbage, man. I'm not going to front. Yeah, wiggle that handle. You know what it is. I went 1-2 now. Shout out to the Steelers for at least holding it down. I told y'all to take Pittsburgh at +3. That worked out. My Broncos didn't show up. Carolina was battling through most of the game, but they couldn't really hang on late. So I went 1-2 in week 3, but it's a new week. It's a new day. And guess what? Mack B's got a 3-pack for you, so let's pop that soda can open one time for your mind. Okay? 3-pack coming right now. So check this out. There's 3 games that I've been looking at, and I'm excited. I feel good about my picks this week. So we're going to go ahead and land in Nashville, Tennessee to start. We got the Cincinnati Bengals and my man Joe Burrow coming into town to play the Tennessee Titans. Well, guess what? The betting line for that game is Cincinnati -2.5. Swallow the 2.5 and roll with the Bengals, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you still got Joe Burrow. Even on 1.5 calves, he's still hurt, right? So he can't really move around too much, but he can still throw that football. And when you got Jamar Chase and you got T. Higgins on the outside and you got my man Joe Mixon in the backfield, you got some magic happening in Cincinnati. So whether they're playing in Nashville or anywhere, I'm confident that the Bengals can get it done. Roll with Cincy this week -2.5. They will cover the point spread. They will win it outright. I'm thinking final score out of Nashville is Cincinnati 28, Tennessee 14. Tennessee's a mess. They couldn't score on Cleveland. Their offensive line is a mess. Tannehill's not really throwing the football right. Derrick Henry's been limited on what he can do. So I am concerned about the Titans and my boy Mike Vrabel over there. So, hopefully you guys can turn it around. But you want extra lettuce on the sandwich, you know what it is. Swallow the 2.5 and take the Cincinnati Bengals. Moving on. We are headed to Big D. We got the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick coming into town. Okay, they're playing the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys laid an egg in Arizona. They really, really had a letdown. I know you lost Trayvon Diggs, and that's a major loss on that defensive side of the football. But no excuses. You guys didn't get it done. Dak Prescott throwing an interception in the end zone, just 13 penalties, a lot of mental errors, right? So I think the hangover from that Cardinals loss and letdown in the desert is going to carry over into Big D. So do I think Dallas can win the football game? Absolutely. But I like the Patriots with the points. Belichick is a mastermind when it comes to going against opposing offenses. The Patriots still have a stout defense. I think they can get to Dak Prescott. I think they can definitely have some domination in the trenches with that offensive line being banged up on the Dallas side of the football. So I think New England comes into Dallas. I think the game is tight. I think it's going to be low scoring, one of those old-fashioned defensive battles. And I think in the end, I think Dak and the Cowboys pull it out late, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be Dallas 20, New England 17, 2017, 2016. Swallow the 6.5 on New England. Take the points. I think the Patriots cover. But at the end of the day, I think the Cowboys win the football game. Now, one of the biggest games of the week. We're going to head up to Nueva York. Shout out to mi gente, tú sabes. So we got the Dolphins at 3-0 coming into Orchard Park, taking on Buffalo, who's 2-1. I think Josh Allen and those boys have finally woken up. I think Buffalo has been playing good football the last couple of weeks. This is an AFC East division rival. Miami has lit up the scoreboard so far, but I got news for y'all. The Buffalo defense ain't giving up 70 points like Denver did. That is not happening. I guarantee you that. Now, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua doing Tua-like things. Miami is still a threat anytime they have the football. But I like the momentum of the Bills, especially on defense, and what they did to shut down the Commanders in Week 3. So I think Buffalo is viable here. Buffalo is a minus 2.5 point favorite on the betting line. Swallow the 2.5, or actually I think the line may have moved to 3. So swallow the 3 points. I think the Bills get it done at home. I think the first half is going to be kind of, tight, and it's going to be a close matchup. I think Buffalo pulls away late. I think they win this game by a touchdown. I'm thinking Bills 35, Miami 27, 28, something like that. So just to review, okay, check this out. I like Cincy over Tennessee, swallow the 2.5. I like New England with the points as a road dog at 6.5. And I love Buffalo at home, -3 in an AFC East showdown coming down. So you already know what time it is. Extra lettuce on the sandwich. It's time to bring the pain. So Solomon, let it rain, baby, yeah! You watching Sports Hop. Mack B's in the building. Holla. Thanks for watching Sports Hop. Subscribe here for all the latest news on hip hop and sports. It's your boy Mack B.